The nurse was adjusting my 4 when my phone buzzed. A text from my neighbor, Harold. Grace, saw Kyle loading Robert's cars onto trailers. Thought you should know. My hands went cold. Robert's cars. My late husband's collection. The 1967 Shelby GT500. The 1963 Split-Window Corvette. The 1970 Plymouth Barracuda. Cars he'd restored with his own hands over 40 years, each one a memory, a piece of his soul. I tried to sit up, but the morphine made everything fuzzy. Hip replacement surgery had me laid up for 3 days now, supposed to be here another week. Everything okay, Mrs. Turner? The nurse asked. I need to call my daughter. But Jenna didn't answer. Neither did Kyle, my son-in-law of 3 years. The snake who'd once asked Robert what those old cars were worth while he was dying of cancer. I called Harold back. Which cars did they take? All of them, Grace. 3 transport trucks. Kyle was directing everything, had paperwork. Said you asked him to handle the sale while you recovered. I never. Harold, I need you to do something for me. 20 minutes later, Harold was at the hospital with his laptop. We went through Robert's meticulous records. Every car documented, photographed, appraised. The collection's total value, $527,000. Grace, Harold said quietly. Kyle was taking pictures of the cars at Robert's funeral. I thought it was strange then. Robert had been gone 6 months. 6 months of Kyle hovering, asking about the estate, suggesting I downsize, offering to help with the complicated assets. I'd kept him at arm's length, but surgery had made me vulnerable. I called my attorney, Patricia Chin. They're stealing Robert's cars while I'm in the hospital. Do you have proof you didn't authorize the sale? I'm on morphine. I can barely authorize Jell-O. I'm on my way. Don't call anyone else yet. But I did call someone else. Detective Marcus Webb, who'd become a friend after handling a vandalism case at Robert's garage 2 years ago. More importantly, he was a classic car enthusiast who drooled over Robert's collection. Mrs. Turner? How's the recovery going? Marcus, someone stealing Robert's cars. Right now. Today. His tone changed immediately. Tell me everything. I did. By the time I finished, I could hear him typing rapidly. Grace, those cars can't be legally sold without your signature as the estate executor. If Kyle's selling them, he's committing fraud. Grand theft auto, more like it. At those values, this is major felony territory. He paused. I have an idea, but I need to make some calls. Can you find out where Kyle's planning to sell them? Patricia arrived as I was scrolling through Kyle's Facebook. Nothing public, but Jenna's profile, still logged in on my phone from when she'd helped me post Robert's obituary, showed everything. Kyle's private message to someone named Derek. Got the collection. Meeting tomorrow at noon. Warehouse on Delaney Street. Cash only like we discussed. My stomach turned. Cash only meant no trail. No records. Just Robert's life's work vanishing into Kyle's pockets. Patricia read over my shoulder. This is evidence of conspiracy to commit fraud. We need the police. Already on it, I said, forwarding screenshots to Marcus. 2 hours later, Marcus called back. Grace, we're setting up a sting. Those buyers Kyle's meeting? They'll be our people. How? We intercepted Derek's communications. Turns out he's been on our radar for moving stolen vehicles. We've convinced him to cooperate in exchange for leniency. Our undercover officers will pose as his associates. What about Kyle? Let him walk right into it. The more evidence we gather, the stronger the case. He paused. There's one problem. We need you to file a formal theft report, but if Jenna gets wind of it, she'll warn him. Exactly. I made the hardest decision of my life. Do it anyway. If my daughter is part of this, we'll find out tomorrow. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not from the pain in my hip, but from the pain in my heart. Jenna hadn't visited once since my surgery. Too busy, she'd said. Now I wondered if she'd been busy planning this. Patricia stayed with me, fielding calls from the hospital social worker who was concerned about my agitation. Mrs. Turner needs rest, she kept saying. What I needed was justice. The next morning, Marcus texted updates. 11:30 a.m. Kyle arrived early. Checking the warehouse. 11:45 a.m. Our team is in position. 11:55 a.m. Derek, our informant, just arrived. 12 p.m. Buyers approaching. Then nothing for an hour. The longest hour of my life. Finally, at 1:07 p.m. Got him. And Grace, you need to know. Jenna was there too. My daughter. My only child. At the sale of her father's stolen cars. Marcus called. She wasn't just there, Grace. She was actively involved. We have her on recording saying, "My mom's too sentimental about this junk. Dad's dead. Dead people don't need cars." I'm sorry. I closed my eyes. Robert had loved Jenna fiercely, despite her materialistic streak. He'd spent countless hours teaching her about cars, hoping she'd understand his passion. She'd called them junk. What happens now? They're both in custody. Kyle's being charged with grand theft auto, fraud, elder abuse. Elder abuse? Taking advantage of someone hospitalized and on medication? That's textbook elder abuse. Jenna's being charged as an accomplice. The rest of the day blurred. Police taking my statement. Patricia filing emergency injunctions. Hospital security keeping reporters away after the story leaked. But the worst was the call from county jail. "Mom." Jenna's voice was small, scared. "Mom, please. It's not what it looks like." "Then what is it?" "We needed the money. Kyle's business is failing. We're behind on the mortgage. You have all those cars just sitting there. They're not just cars. They're your father's legacy. Dad's dead." She screamed it. "He's gone. And you care more about his stupid cars than your own daughter. I care about the man who spent 40 years building something beautiful. Who taught you to change oil when you were 10. Who took you to car shows every summer. I hated those shows." "I know," I said quietly. He knew too. But he kept taking you, hoping one day you'd see what he saw. Beauty. History. Passion. Passion doesn't pay bills. Neither does stealing. Kyle said it wasn't stealing. He said you'd understand eventually. That you'd forgive us. Family forgives family. Your father would have given you anything. All you had to do was ask. Would you have sold the cars if we asked? I thought about it. Really thought about it. We could have worked something out. A loan against them. Selling one or two. But all of them? Like trash? While I was drugged in a hospital bed. Silence. Kyle saw an opportunity and took it, I continued. And you helped him. That's not family. That's betrayal. I'm your daughter. Yes. And you sold your father's soul for cash. She hung up. The trial was swift. The evidence overwhelming. Recorded conversations where Kyle detailed his plan to clear out the old man's junk while Grace is out of commission. Photos of him at Robert's funeral, literally standing by the casket while texting buyers. The worst evidence was a text from Jenna. Dad wasted his whole life on those cars. At least now they'll actually help the family. Wasted his whole life. Robert had worked 2 jobs to support us while building his collection. Never missed a birthday, a school play, a father-daughter dance. But she remembered the cars as waste. Kyle got 5 years. Grand theft, elder abuse, fraud. The judge called him a vulture preying on a grieving widow. Jenna got 18 months and probation. The judge was lenient, said she'd been manipulated by her husband. But I saw the truth in her eyes during sentencing. She wasn't sorry for trying to steal from me. She was sorry for getting caught. The cars were returned, every one of them. I sold 2, the ones Robert had liked least, to cover legal fees. The rest went to a museum with a plaque, the Robert Turner Collection. Built with love, preserved with devotion. Kyle's family harassed me for months. How could I send my own daughter to prison? How could I choose cars over family? But they had it backward. I didn't choose cars over family. My family chose greed over love. Jenna served 10 months. Got out early for good behavior. She sent a letter asking to meet, to reconcile. I agreed. We met at a cafe. She looked older, harder. Prison does that. I'm getting divorced, she said without preamble. Kyle was using me. You were right about that. Just that. She stirred her coffee. I still think you loved Dad's cars more than me. I loved what they represented. Your father's patience, his skill, his dreams. You tried to sell his dreams while I was helpless in a hospital bed. We were desperate. You were greedy. There's a difference. So what now? I'm your daughter. Your only child. Are you really going to throw that away? I'm not throwing anything away. You did that when you looked at your father's legacy and saw only dollar signs. People make mistakes. Mistakes are accidents. You planned this. Waited until I was vulnerable. Used my recovery to commit a crime. She stood to leave, then turned back. You know what's funny? Kyle spent hours researching those cars, their values, their buyers. He probably knows more about Dad's collection now than I ever did. Robert would have taught you everything if you'd wanted to learn. Yeah, well, too late now. She walked away. I still have the cars. Sometimes I sit in the garage in Robert's old chair, and tell him about my day. About the 67 Shelby's new carburetor. About the Corvette's paint job. About how Harold helps me maintain them now. I don't tell him about Jenna. He knows. Last month, the museum called. They want to feature the collection in a documentary about passionate collectors and their families. They asked if Jenna would participate. She's not available, I said. Oh, is she traveling? Something like that. The truth is, I don't know where Jenna is. After our cafe meeting, she vanished. No forwarding address, no phone number. Her cousins say she moved west, started over. Maybe that's for the best. She was right about one thing. It's too late now. Too late to learn what Robert tried to teach. Too late to understand that some things matter more than money. The cars remain, gleaming and perfect, each one a story, a memory, a piece of a man who knew that beautiful things were worth preserving. Even when the people who should have understood that tried to sell them for scrap. Especially then,